morning, evening, afternoon, or whenever you might be listening to this. My name is Evan.
David.
And we're joined by our mutual friend, Nick. Say hi, Nick.
Hi, guys. What's up?
Nick is a good friend of mine who I introduced to David. And, oh, by the way, Nathaniel's not here. He fell into the space-time continuum.
Yeah.
And he is still falling.
He sat in the quantum chair and only knows when he'll come back.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's right now he's bargaining with Dormammu. So he will be back. He will
On a
be
side
back.
note, did you hear that theory?
What?
Ant-Man's gonna meet Dormammu in the space.
Oh.
And that's how he's gonna get back.
No.
I know. That's what people... I'm like, just let the movie come out and just shut up.
I just don't want the movie to be time travel.
I know.
I really
There's
don't.
so much continuity breaking there.
Well, that sucks because that's all it's going to be.
Yeah.
No, I know, and it's just...
Did you watch Ant-Man and the Wasp?
Yes.
You saw the end. There's like, stay away from the time pockets or whatever. And I heard that and I was like, oh, okay. So thanks for just telling us exactly the plot of Avengers 4. Thank you.
Yeah. But we have yet to see you from Captain Marvel.
I cannot wait. Well, no, you actually see in Captain Marvel. I actually saw the teaser of like her in her red and blue and gold suit for the first time, and it
looks really good.
Looks great.
Very festive.
Yeah. And what was the name of the green aliens that she's facing off against in this movie? It's the...
I don't know. It was so underthought I forgot it.
Is it like those green short Martian things?
No, they're the shapeshifter guys.
Oh, I don't know.
Skrull.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That was a cut and paste from Gears of War.
Like the Skrull. Yeah,
that's so uninventive.
Well, they're a staple in Marvel comic books. They are. They're like, there's a huge like comic book series based around the Skrull and how they're imitating people and they've infiltrated.
You gotta get a better name than Skrull. It sounds like a window detergent. Like, come on. Like, Stanley, I love him. I love the guy.
I don't think he came up with
Come
Skrull.
on with like weird cliche names with like weird. There's this Gears of War, like the Flood from Halo. Like there's so many
names.
It's one word names for these entities that are just like, you know. I'm just so tired. There's got to be some originality with this.
So.
Like what?
Do you want like a 10-word name? Like,
no,
is that what
like,
you're looking for?
Like I like ones that have thought put into them. Like, you know how like dinosaurs have like the Brachiocenteaton or something. Like, give it something like interesting.
That is scientific, sir.
Yeah, something.
You want more scientific names.
I want more like
so you want science into a movie that's
based on
very very far away from science.
That's full of pseudoscience.
Yes, it's look.
Because
that's like asking for like realistic magazine capacities in action movies.
I know,
like
and with magazine clips. Because there's points in movies where there's just that roll your eye moment where they come up with some name. Like in Doctor Strange, Dormammu was mine. I'm like, you're gonna give this omnipresent entity a name like Dormammu. There's gotta be some better way to encapsulate this. Like he's beyond time and well, he's not beyond time and space because
he got stuck.
That's
in
the whole cliche at the end of the movie. But like, there's got to be some some driven purpose for the name besides just like let me throw some letters in a Scrabble game. That's his name. I don't know. I'm just for.
I need to name this creature. Dump Scrabble on table
right now. It's Schlongdagger. There. Schlongdagger confirmed as enemy in
Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel.
Long Dong Silver.
Long Dong Silver.
He wears shorts and all his enemies flee.
No, he wears the green stretchy pants.
Hey, my name's Fappin' Bradley.
That reminds me of I was watching this one thing about the craziest battle in history, the Battle of Alesia. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but it was based in Roman times, and this is around the time when Julius Caesar was jerking himself off because he was the only person writing things down at the time. No, I'm serious. Like, this whole battle...
That's accurate.
It's him. Like, I feel like if it was written modern day, everything would be like, and Julius Caesar was a badass. The most handsome man, best man. Like, that would be the end of every passage. So the looping back to this, at the time the Battle of Alesia was based on the Gallian War, which was with all these tribes that were in Europe, and it was in a sight of the passage. A lot of the Gaul, one of their war strategies was fighting naked, and it was like they're like
just flopping.
Because I you not, Julius Caesar was like, it's a clever strategy because the sight of a man erect will make one scared. And in my mind, I'm just like, it just gives me another target to swing at. Like,
my question is, why are your soldiers erect going into battle? That's the other question that I have.
Adrenaline? I have no clue.
I've never.
That's a crazy battle.
I have
death.
Yeah.
I have never gotten an adrenaline boner. I don't know about you guys.
I have once, and it was the weirdest feeling. It was during airsoft. Not weird enough.
Oh, that's. I've gone or something with you.
No. You weren't there.
I know I wasn't there because I probably
went with Doug, and then it was.
It's like
it was because I was alone. I was surrounded.
Oh,
and I'm just like,
wait.
Hell.
That's like because I was alone and I was fucking up. Like, you have to stop and rephrase that.
Editing. Cut that. No, but if you've never heard the Battle of Alesia, that's a crazy battle. Okay, so quick. I know this is a very long intro card, but you're good at editing. So the Battle of Alesia takes place.
I've literally taken 20 minutes off of it.
No, last week I felt so bad because we like purposely stretched it out. You listen to the beginning of this last podcast, you could hear the salt emerging from his pores. Yeah. So the Battle of Alesia takes place in the city of Alesia, which is somewhere in the middle. They don't really specify where, but it's in the middle of Europe, somewhere in like what's modern day Poland, I'd imagine. Okay. But so it's this hilltop city, and it's basically a siege city. It's on the hill, and so you got the city of Alesia right there, and then on either side of it is a river. So it kind of canals, and then two mountains. It's in a valley. So at this point, Rome and the Gaul have been fighting back and forth, and Rome's trying to expand, and the Gaul's trying to fight. They're kind of like a tribe-based army. So it's a lot of small tribes, and then they pick this. They pick the leader at the time, Vercingetorix, and crazy name. I love that name. But so right now it's kind of like he's on the run. So he's hit his army about 60,000 strong in Alesia, and it's kind of sieged itself. Okay. So the only way to fight this city is by siege. So Julius, seeing this and seeing how there's no way that they can get it other than just running people into the wall, comes up with one of the craziest ideas. He builds a wall around the city.
Oh, this fight. I've heard of this
around the city. And not just a wall. He has like 20-foot trenches and like, moats that go all the way around the city. All the way around the city. So he basically is just like, I'm going to wait until you die kind of thing.
It's like, all right, you're gonna like trench in? Cool. We'll build trenches around you.
He builds it's like a 30-foot wall. And not that the Gaul didn't try to stop him, but at one point there was Julius Caesar recounts a lot of these, so a lot of it's just like so one point
I'm amazing.
Yeah. So at one point Vercingetorix sends out his cavalry into the valley in which so it's two rivers, a mountain behind them, and surrounded by mountains, the city, and then this big valley, and that's where most of the fights happen. So he sends out his cavalry, and at first the cavalry starts pushing their way towards the wall to kind of stop it from being built. But Rome at this point has German soldiers that they acquired from their previous, and they are like, if I had to have one army I would not want to face, it would be Rome's German legion, because they can kill every one of them. And so they start running back, and Vercingetorix is scared so this is Julius writing this, so I imagine there's some embellishment. But he's so scared he closes the doors, and all the German troops kill 10,000 of his cavalry at the gates of the city.
Oh my god.
This is the craziest battle. If you've never heard of it, Google it. But okay, so long story short, the Gaul imagine they gotta get out of there. So at night, they escape. They cut through a part that hasn't been built yet, a part of the wall that has not been built yet. So they go out to the rest of the tribes in Europe, and they're like, we need to build like the biggest group of cavalry and of, we need a huge legion. So the Gaul at this point have about 50,000 people, like 10,000 cavalry, 40,000 troops or whatever. And then Rome has about 70,000, about 15, whatever the ratio is. So the Gaul tribes get together. They get 40,000 cavalry and 250,000 troops. And here's the craziest part of this. So they come to kind of like trap Julius on this wall. This mother built another wall after his. So he sieged himself in his own wall, still starving Vercingetorix out in the city, and then blocking the rest of these guys outside because they can't coordinate an attack. Because it's in this area where you have these two walls that are kitty-cornered, and they can't communicate and strategize. And Vercingetorix tries his night raid, and that's somewhat successful, but Roman's legionnaires are just crazy, and they just hold everyone off. And then Vercingetorix, they're starving themselves out, so then they send the citizens of the city out and being like, here, they'll save you. And Rome's just like, nope, sends them back, and then Vercingetorix says nope, and they wander in the wilderness till they die in the middle of the wall in the city. Oh my. Now here's the craziest part.
That's not even the craziest part.
Part is, so they finally get a coordinated attack, and they both fight at the same time as Vercingetorix sends out everybody from the city to fight against the wall, and then this massive army is fighting from the other side of the wall, and bits and pieces of the wall start falling apart. It's looking like Rome's going to just implode from this point because they're trapped. There's a gap in the wall, and it's near a giant hill and a mountain. And the Gaul figured this out, and they're like, okay, if we can get enough cavalry through there, we'll basically just crumble them from the inside out because we'll just be able to envelop them. So, but Rome was weary of this, and they did it on purpose, and it's a death funnel. So Rome puts this giant cavalry to stop them from coming in on one side, and then uses the rest of the cavalry to come around. And from accounts besides Julius said, it was like a red mist was in the air from how much blood was there, and Rome was just like, the sight of seeing your only escape route disappear behind a wall of cavalry killing all of the people behind you, that must scare you.
That's got
jeez. The rest of the army, upon seeing that battle, disbanded. All the Gaul that were fighting around the rest of the wall disbanded, and from that fight, they effectively won the battle. They won the war. And he captured Vercingetorix in the city, made him, I think, a prisoner for 6 years, and then killed him by strangling him publicly. It's the craziest battle ever, and I love that he's the one accounting this. So the whole time he's just like, the whole time.
I'm so sorry.
No, in that battle where the death one was, he says, I decided to ride in the battle with them. So he was in the battle with them, and he's like, I wore my best armor and my red cloak. And the whole time, he's just accounting how he was the best in this. So
I killed 50,000 men.
Dude, he was totally just
jerked off on all of them.
Yeah, totally stroking his own. Because, dude, this guy was crazy. And then, Julius Caesar got murdered by his own army. But then,
probably because they were
brush over that fact.
They were probably tired of him telling stories of how great he was when they were doing all the work.
She's like, I did that. He didn't do that. Right?
Yeah. So that's great. Well, that's a great story, David.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm glad I took up way too much time.
Like 15
awesome.
minutes. Yeah.
Yep, it was a fantastic battle.
That's a fantastic battle. Well, we, as a podcast, have been implementing new segments into our shows, and now it is my turn to share mine and do my thing.
Good intro.
Yeah. So this segment of me talking is I'm a connoisseur of anime, and I enjoy watching different anime, and I keep up with different anime during the week, and as I kick the table, as also the bag where we keep our microphones. Yeah.
It's a My Hero Academia bag.
Yes, which my friend Colin got me from Comic-Con. So.
Oh, it's from Comic-Con. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very, very nice.
They're premium.
Yeah.
Only the finest.
Do the thing with your thumb and your finger.
Only the finest. Yes.
yeah, so this little segment will just be if there's anything influential or crazy in the world of anime when it comes to episodes being aired. This will be the time where I share it.
Okay.
And
I am not caught up on My Hero Academia, so if you're going to talk about that, don't talk about the most recent episodes. I have not seen that.
I will not talk about it. I will say I have been watching My Hero Academia, and it is a really good show. It is a really good show. So Nick hasn't seen the episode. The most recent episode that's come out, or at least of the Japanese sub. So I will talk about another episode that came out recently that is connecting it to the movie that's coming out later this year.
Oh, that's right. There is a movie coming out.
So it was a fun little thing that kind of took a break from the current arc that it's on right now, and it told.
Oh, that's what that episode.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. It was confusing,
It was
right?
confusing.
Yeah, because they were in the middle of this exam, and all of a sudden, like now they're back at home.
Yeah, and I was worried that they're hopping on the freaking filler episode bandwagon.
No,
and that was it. Kind of ticked me off because I was like, okay, wait.
No.
This better not be filler.
That's not what it was.
Half of Naruto.
And
more than half of Naruto.
And also a lot of One Piece.
No, everything in One Piece has a point. They go back to every filler.
No. There are there's a 200 season arc that you could literally skip and not miss anything.
That's not true.
That is
you can watch One Piece
true.
And everything. They come back to everything.
Stop stroking Luffy.
To everything. I put in 800 episodes into this. I have to support this.
None of it's filler. I wasted none of my time.
Dude,
you just have to convince yourself you wasted none of your time.
That's what you have to do. That's like the people who are up to date on Detective Conan.
So this episode,
right? It's so bad.
But this episode that came out, it was showing most of the characters, not all of them, but a lot of the main characters from Class 1A doing a fun little extra credit training exercise where All Might was a villain and Midnight overacted for no explicit reason. But it was a fun episode, and it very, very subtly connects it to the end of
Batman.
I looked up One Piece filler and I just showed it to David.
But a lot of those,
there's a lot of filler.
A lot of those say like 50-51, 2 episodes. Like,
yeah, count those up though. That adds up.
Okay, Long Island, I will admit, is the filler of fillers when they literally just go to an island and everything's long. I know, fill in your jokes. There's a scene where
fill in your poor choice of words.
No, purposeful. There's a scene where Luffy eats. I think it was a kiwi, and it's long. It's gone down in infamy.
Oh boy!
Yeah,
fantastic.
Like I'm just trying to do my thing.
Just like,
but
how do I come back from this? So what happened in this episode?
Majorly, it was like a training exercise where they had to assess the situation, assess this hostage situation, and in the end, it tied up very, very nicely with the movie that's coming out and kind of telling a story and like why they're going to America. The school is located in Japan, so they're all taking a trip to America to visit All Might's old friend who helped him make his first superhero suit and kind of helped him become a hero for the first time. So it was an interesting little thing that tied everything together. So I think that, yeah.
So Chuck Norris confirmed for My Hero Academia?
I don't know. I think, man, I'm trying to think who would be a good person to play
John Cena.
All Might in a live action.
In a live action?
I mean,
not The Rock.
No, of course not. Are you kidding me?
You know, Hollywood would do some things really stupid like that.
No. That big German guy from
The Mountain?
No, from the fourth Rocky.
Oh, Drago?
Yes.
He's Russian.
He can... Look, Gregory House is English and he played an American guy.
He's white. It's okay.
No, my reasoning is blonde hair, huge muscles. Boom. At least that side of him. I don't know how they're going to do the skinny. They'll probably do a Captain America and CG all the skinny parts in. But
probably. Or, no, they'll just do a face CG.
Just a face CG?
Well, that's what they do.
I mean, if that's the case, Chris Evans could just do it.
Yeah.
Actually,
Chris Evans could be a good...
Oh, well, Thor.
Chris Hemsworth, yeah.
Oh, ooh.
It would
He's
be
blonde already.
That's true.
He is blonde already.
So that's been this segment. Jeez. Not as good, but
No.
All right. Now, with that all being said, good Lord, 30 minutes later. All right. We try to keep this under an hour, so
Oh, okay.
so we're I'm
You can cut out the Alicia.
I'm gonna have to cut out a lot.
Yeah.
All right. So I like some of that. I'll keep some of that in, but
I keep saying we gotta just like take some of them and then just like
I have a file called ADD podcast. I
Awesome.
just take out a lot of that stuff and put it in there. All right.
Awesome.
So we'll be going into our main topic.
What the hell was that?
We just try to find weird ways to say main topic as a transition.
Main topic.
And then we actually have like transition music, and then we come in afterwards.
or high quality.
High quality.
Yeah.
HQ. That big old HQ
Yeah.
in the corner.
Yeah. 4K. That's
Yu-Gi-Oh!
this started. Someone was just like, "What if the smaller?"
Sorry, I tried to transition, but he was still telling a story, so never mind. No, go for it. No, you can tell your
What
story.
does Yu-Gi-Oh even stand for? What does it even mean?
I don't know.
I've always wondered that.
Yeah. So,
Probably just something. They probably just like dropped a coin in a can and shook it.
so we're gonna go around the table. Everyone gives a quick one-sentence synopsis on what Yu-Gi-Oh is.
Okay.
All right.
Current or overall?
Overall.
Okay.
Or just what it means to you.
Okay.
Or what it just means to you.
Okay.
Oh, you already know mine.
I already know yeah. Oh, am I starting?
Yeah, go for it.
All right.
You
okay.
volunteered, so I'm
I
gonna
did.
do
I
it.
did. So, okay. Overall, Yu-Gi-Oh is one of the only current trading card games that doesn't have a system of resources to actually get cards onto the field, and that makes it so broken with what you can actually do nowadays. At the start, it was totally like free reign because they didn't know how the mechanics worked. Nowadays, it's if you can't do anything in 2 turns, you lose, and it's stupid.
That is the longest sentence I've ever heard.
It's a run-on sentence.
That's the longest run-on sentence I've ever heard. David?
You first.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a trading card game that consists of monsters, magic cards, and trap cards, and you take turns drawing cards and playing cards to try to beat the other person and bring their life points down to 0. That's what it is.
Damn gladiator beast dicks.
That's an inside joke for people who play Yu-Gi-Oh!
No. So my actual is
That's not your actual?
No.
That would have been a fantastic actual.
dude. Oh my god, did that destroy? Anyway,
Okay.
Yu-Gi-Oh is
We'll get into that later.
a unpredictable game of infinite possibilities and top decking beyond belief. That's Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yes, very true. Now, we're going to go back.
Also very accurate.
We're going to go...
What's that? 50 life points? I'm gonna hand draw Megamorph. Equipped it. One hit KO.
So, we're going to go back around. So, David will start. When were you first introduced to Yu-Gi-Oh? Or when did you decide that you liked Yu-Gi-Oh?
When I collected a lot more Pokemon cards than my brothers and beat them every single chance they could, so they decided to switch games to Yu-Gi-Oh. I followed them right over and continued the trend.
Oh, that's fantastic.
This is what happens when you don't buy Taco Bell and you invest in Pokemans.
That's so much better than mine. That's fantastic.
That was...
For me, I was actually at a summer camp, and some of the older kids, which when I say older kids, they were like 13, 14. Don't you remember like thinking of big kids when you were younger, but they were like little squirts now, and you're like, dude, I was afraid of kids your age.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
Now I just want you to shut up.
Yeah,
It's like now I can punch you over the fence, and like
now you won't stop making Fortnite references.
Oh, don't even get me started on Fortnite. And I saw that they were playing it, and I was interested, and they invited me to play, basically, to try it out, but of course they just made fun of me the whole time. You'd think that would deter me.
Nope.
But if anything, I like the game. I hate these douchebags, but I like this game. This game looks cool. And it was really the art of the cards that draw me to it. Yeah, it was the art was very different, and it just drove me in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So that's also really cool. What got me into it was very happenstance, kind of very random.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I was, how old was I? I must have been like 11 or 12 or something like that. And we got this video in the mail, like a VHS tape, and it said Yu-Gi-Oh on it. And I'm like, okay, what is this? It's like a cartoon. Cool. We put it in, and I watched the video. It was just a promo for the card game in the anime, and I was like, this is cool. Like you get to control monsters out of cards. What kind of kid doesn't want to do that?
Right.
You know?
It's
Like, and at the time I was.
And then you got the cards, and monsters didn't come out of it. Like, well, rip off.
Well, no,
false advertisement.
I knew the difference at that age.
Yeah,
but
yeah. Oh, good. I'm glad.
But like, yeah, no, I matured slightly slower than everybody else. Not that much slower.
David's like, I didn't know.
But I was also.
I thought when I ripped Beyblades, dragons would come out of it.
That's what got me into Beyblades. But I was really into like Beyblades, Digimon, and Pokemon at the time. So Yu-Gi-Oh! Was just like...
Hey, you were the weeb trifecta.
Hey, I was, but I kept it secret.
If there's anything we learn in life, it's exposure is the most important part.
Yes.
So like, and I started just begging for the freaking cards, and I got my first deck at a freaking swap meet.
What was your first deck?
It was was it...
Was it a Kaiba deck?
You know, it was a Joey Wheeler deck.
Oh,
it was Joey Wheeler. Because I always loved underdogs, and he was the underdog in the anime. Hell yeah!
Yeah. I got cards from Swap Meet. The cards that I got the 3 Egyptian god cards from the Swap Meet.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah. So there was an anime based off the card game, which is basically it was just a show that advertised to help sell the card game. That's what it was.
Essentially, yeah.
Before kids ruined it, but we're not going to get into that.
No. Okay.
Yeah, you're under arrest.
Yes. He's pointing instead of with a gun.
Yeah, because that's actually a thing. They edited out the guns and just had them pointing at him like
they edit, if you watch the dubbed and then the subbed, it's hilarious how much stupid stuff, very, very small things that they edited out that just they thought was not okay for little kids.
There's YouTube compilations of all the edits they did to that.
Oh, it's hilarious.
There's like whole stories they took out.
Oh my god, it was the same. They butchered One Piece.
Well, it was the same thing with Pokemon too. There was episodes that they took out because there was that poacher episode that they took out because they didn't want people to think that Pokemon could die because they just faint. They just faint. They don't die.
I would love to see a re-edit of Pokemon, but with like a Nuzlocke mentality.
So like when Pokemon faints, they
die. Ash would not be the best there ever was.
No.
He still isn't. He never has been. He has never won.
He's got that close.
Yeah. And he lost to a Blaziken. Can you believe? No, I'm kidding. Anyway, circle back.
Circle back to the anime that we came here to talk about. So the cards range from monster cards to magic cards and trap cards.
Since the lawsuit with Magic the Gathering, they're not called magic cards; they're called spell cards.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. It's a really stupid lawsuit. It's honestly the dumbest lawsuit I have ever heard before.
Hey, you can't use magic in your game. You can use spells, but not magic. It's like,
right.
All right. So Spell, Trap, and Monster cards. That's how it started. Of course, as the years have gone on, it has evolved, and it's kind of turned into this whole new thing where now there's Synchro, Pendulum, XYZ. There's the
Link Summoning.
There's the Link Summoning, which is
and
weird.
good old Fusion.
And then Fusion, that was in the original game as well. Like that was more.
Fusion was the tolerable one.
Fusion was the first extension to the game, where it's not just the cards that are in your deck. There are other cards that you have that have certain things that you need to do. And there's also ritual summoning as well.
The ritual was in deck.
Yeah.
A lot of the polymerization, that's the start of the extra deck styling, and
that's when that whole concept started. Was with the
15 card limit, and
for sure.
Well, that 15 card limit didn't drop until Exceeds dropped. XYZ.
What was it, at 20?
No, it was.
There was no
limit.
There was no
really.
Yeah,
there
you
was
could have
no
whatever.
limit before then.
Huh.
Yeah. Same with how much cards you actually have in your deck. The 60 card limit that's now enforced wasn't a thing. I remember when I went to a Yu-Gi-Oh camp a long time ago. I dueled against kids with decks like 6-8 inches tall.
Jeez.
And it took him like 20 minutes just to shuffle the damn thing. And whereas I'm sitting here with like my 52 60 card thing, and I'm just like,
that's crazy.
Just finish. You're not going to get through all of those.
It's like split those up into 3 decks and then pick one. Like
not even like 5.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So, there's rules and regulations. Speaking of that, what are things about the Yu-Gi-Oh culture that we maybe like, dislike, or things that maybe you wish weren't there? Or you've mentioned you have a lot of grievances.
There's a lot of likes.
So much to say.
How about one like and one dislike, just to prevent from
one like and one dislike?
Yeah, one like, one dislike.
Overall like and overall dislike. I already know my overall dislike.
I know my overall dislike.
Yeah.
Aggro decks.
Yes.
Decks that literally. So okay. How the game started out.
Explain aggro deck. What does that mean?
Okay. So how the game started out, it was very much like you.
It's like chess. It's like chess, but with cards. It's very turn based.
Yeah, it's a turn based game style. There were so many different types of decks that you could actually make to start off.
Archetype decks, like decks.
No, not even that.
No, not even that.
Have just no archetype. Archetype didn't even start until like the GX era, where fusion was basically if you didn't run a fusion deck, you're running an obelisk deck, or like are you running a Ignodia deck? That was pretty much it.
Yeah,
but no, a lot of the fun from the beginning was just being able to take things that don't even match and be able to create something crazy that worked, and that was the fun of it.
But nowadays that's not a thing.
Oh no.
And that's my biggest gripe, is because at the beginning there was literally unlimited amount of decks that you could make, or types of decks that you could make, as opposed to now if you're not running an aggro style, which is get through your deck as fast as possible and get as many cards on the field as possible, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
There's no way to combat that without running an aggro deck yourself.
Yeah. Swarming has been the bane of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Like the recent Yu-Gi-Oh! Formats, and Pendulum really made that kick into effect. Even before then,
I made one of those.
Yeah, even then when XYZs came into play, I feel like XYZ was the last one that made sense to me, because it gave you a reason to have a lot of things on the field.
Well, it gave rogue decks a chance to actually do something.
Absolutely.
Like my
frog decks.
It's funny because I love the idea that the community in itself has a lot of terms for what a lot of shorthand terms for what they mean and stuff like that, and everyone knows exactly what they're talking about. But for someone who's just listening, who's going like, I have no idea what they're talking about. But no, for the longest time, I was in that group where I had no idea what I was doing, and I had no idea what any of this was. But
yeah, a little context. David and myself have played competitively before.
Yeah.
That's why we have all these grievances and all these annoyances.
Yeah, but moving forward, let's speak less about the
likes. I think exactly what you said is you really don't have to know what you're doing to actually play the game. There's little format things, or you can't have more than a certain number of things, and that's just structure.
Yeah.
But past that, you have a card, you read it, you know how to use it. It's a very straightforward. Like if I tried to play Pokemon today, I don't remember how. Like it's very different from like Magic the Gathering and Pokemon, whereas everything that you have in your deck is playable the minute you pick it up, or it has a structure where you can play it.
Yeah, other than the tournament grievances, the things that we like about the game are that. Once you learn how to play, once you learn the structure of it, begin your turn by drawing a card, and then most of the cards that do something have what they say right there on the card. So it's kind of hard to act like you don't know what you're doing.
Right. Yeah, it's extremely hard to screw up unless you're playing a higher tier deck. Those do require skill.
Yeah.
But
that's
not an immense amount of skill.
The thing is though, it really comes down to strategy.
Yeah,
planning.
Absolutely.
And that's what I mean by chess, but with cards, because it's a lot of it's like planning out moves in advance and kind of predicting what your opponent will do.
Yeah.
Because if you know, like for example, if you're playing someone who like what cards they have in their deck, and what kind of deck they have, you can kind of strategize and say like, well, he likes to do this with this card, so if I play this, that will prevent him from doing that, and that cripples his whole plan.
Exactly.
So, as we've got into it more, we've got into building decks and things like that. And I've every time I build a deck, I only have I have 5 that I've built.
You're more than 5.
Do I?
Yeah,
I don't remember. But with mine, what I like to do is I like to have a plan A all the way through C. I want to try to run it. It's kind of like in basketball, how you run through a player basically. Yeah. And if that player isn't doing it, or if he isn't pulling his weight, then you have a second player to run through, and then you have another one to run through. I like to have backup plans just in case the one I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket kind of thing. That's kind of how I like to strategize. But
and that's kind of another. I know we're technically done talking about dislikes, but that's another kind of
it's
bad thing about Yu-Gi-Oh. You can't really do that anymore.
Yeah,
at the competitive level,
you can. Yeah, you can't be thoughtfully strategic, and you can't really be thoughtfully strategic and have fun with it.
Well, strategy.
No, it's not. No. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you can't have 3.
You can't have fun.
You can't have 3 different backup plans in a deck anymore.
Because if the first one doesn't work, you won't have a chance to run the rest.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Become 10-turn games in tournaments, pretty much.
Yeah.
Congruently, and that's kind of the sad part is. You can't really see the variety of someone's deck anymore. Like he said, your whole strategy is burn through your cards, and a lot of the cards that you end up having have after effects that you're supposed to activate in the grave, or when certain things happen to them in a certain way, and that's kind of the hard part is a lot of decks nowadays, you have a paragraph of effect, column you have to read, and then if you're not up to date when you're playing tournament style and you play someone with a specific deck that you have so many card moves in a single turn where, you can use a normal summon, and then you have 7 special summons off of that, and all you need is 3 or 4 cards to fill your field and win. And it's kind of the sad part is you really RNG is the entirety of competitive play. If you draw the right cards in your first hand, then you will win. And then you have the problem with you don't have any more spell and traps. Traps are pretty much out of the meta because they're too slow. It's a lot of, if you have instant playability, that's the best card you can have. And hand traps like that, hand negating, combos and swarming decks have been rampant throughout, I think that probably started in Gladiator Beast decks.
Yeah.
Probably before that even, where, you had cards that,
Toolbox.
Yeah, toolbox decks where you have cards that basically make your field. There's phrases not really phrases, they're saying +1. If you have a card that gives you 2 cards, you're +1 because you've used a card to get 1 extra card. And a lot of the current decks have become that where you need to have cards that give you +3, +4, where you can draw more cards than you can in that current turn as an advantage. And that's kind of the hard part.
So quick quiz. I know you guys know, but just to cover the basics and stuff. How many spaces can you put monster cards on?
5.
If you're running Crystal Beast, 10. But 5.
Thank you.
Yeah.
5. Yeah, you love that deck.
Yep, that's my favorite. That's currently my favorite deck, and I figure out how to make links work in it.
Did you?
I did.
How many spots can you put spell or trap cards in?
5 as well.
5
Actually, 6. because field spell.
Oh, the field spells.
I know that was a trick question.
And
Come
actually,
on.
I want to redact my previous statement. Now you can put 7 cards in monster zones because now you have the 2 extra monster zones.
For pendulum?
Stupid.
For pendulum?
No, for Link.
For Link.
The pendulums they've moved into this spell and trap,
Which is the best.
It is. It's a really good. I was really happy they did.
God, Gandora decks were terrible for that. I hate those. The more cards you have on the field, the better. And when they had this format for Pendulum, which is a style of play where you have monster cards that act like spell cards or like almost like field spell cards.
And they have numbers like on them as like caps, and each monster has a star count from 1 to I think 12 or something.
Yeah,
it's like that's the max or something.
Yeah, they're called levels. Every monster has a level anywhere from 1 to 12. Level 5 and 6 require 1 tribute to summon, so you have to sacrifice another monster to get it on the field. 7 and higher require 2 unless otherwise specified.
Yeah, the thing is though, most monsters like 10 and above usually require like 3
usually.
Or they require like tribute from the graveyard or something. There's a lot of
or something really, really specific.
Yes,
that nobody runs them because they're too specific.
Yeah. So they're just nice cards to have because they look pretty most of the time.
Oh yeah.
Which by the way, can we talk about that for a second on
card art?
Card art, and how well it's kind of funny because like some of the card art was censored from Japan.
Yeah.
Because in America we're a bunch of snowflakes that if we see any kind of cleavage on a drawing of a girl,
oh my god, there's boobs.
we can't handle it. Our brains melt. Which
ironically, a lot of
girls don't have double D's. Don't need to be A's. Like, come on.
I don't know.
Which is the demographic for Yu-Gi-Oh is like 16 plus anyway. That's the only ones that really play it. So it's
Yet they're sold for 9 and up.
Yeah, and that's what's
So the idea that
like you honestly, you legitimately don't find anyone under like 15 playing this game anymore.
No, they don't have the money. Parents are going to pay that kind of money for. I mean,
I wish.
They'll pay $20 so their kid can get a skin on Fortnite, but they won't pay. You know, but card art, but also just the idea of like collecting cards. This still can be a collector's market as well because they have packs where you can have a chance to collect a really rare card. It's very similar to Pokemon, how they had like shinies or whatever. There's a funny story. There's a card store that we visit every once in a while. They have cards in boxes, in like display boxes or whatever. And just to show you like the market value on how like cards like in flux or whatever, David knows where this is going. There was a fusion card monster called what was it called again, David?
Blue Eyes Twin Burst Dragon.
Oh, okay, cool. It was.
Oh, yeah, you were there for that.
And this card, just to give you an idea of how expensive some of these cards can get sometimes, it was $22. $28 for the card,
and that's low for something of that for something like that.
At the time, it was,
and for one card,
for a single card, 28. And to put it in context, you can probably get like 130 cards out of packs just on $28 sometimes if you get sets or whatever.
Yeah. So there's the second half to the story. We went back like a week later.
Probably a couple weeks later.
We saw the same card. How much was it when we came back, David?
$4.
$24 cheaper. Interesting. It's almost like if you waited, if you showed a little patience.
Yeah, it's because everybody bought it.
Yep.
That's why everybody bought it at the high price. Now they have extra, and they don't need, since everybody has it, it's not wanted anymore. So now price just plummets.
Yeah. Going back to the 10-turn games.
David, you gotta learn to tell yourself no sometimes. It's good for you.
Yeah, and and that's half
you should be telling me that.
Yeah. But that's half the fun, though, is, the newest card.
You're not dropping $28 on a card, though.
Yeah, I've learned my lesson since then.
That's the thing.
I learned my lesson since then. They kind of like.
Well, okay, I'm gonna be making the money soon to actually be able to do that. So.
Well, don't. That's the thing. That's no.
But
no. You're missing the point. Wait, Nick, no. Stop. Don't do that. But yeah, so
I need a banker.
Yeah.
it's like I need an agent to control my money. Otherwise, I will
Finance
burn
officer.
through it.
Yeah.
Oh, my finances don't go to Yu-Gi-Oh! You know what they go to.
Oh, they go to yourself. That's true. Yeah.
Which is significantly more expensive.
That's just by a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, I'm not buying $100 cards, which there are a few. There's actually no. Ash Blossom's not at 100 anymore. It's at like 70 something. Isn't
It's
it?
up there, but it's
the fact that it
not
was
as
is
high.
sad.
Yeah, no. For the first 3 months after it came out,
Yeah.
it was at $100.
Yeah.
And then this new set came out, which dropped it at a lower rarity, and now it dropped to right around $70, $75. So not a whole lot of a drop,
Yeah.
but yeah,
that-
I know people that there are people that literally paid $300 for 3 of those.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Well then. Yeah.
Expensive cards.
your dick, you have a big dick. All right, cool, whatever.
Expensive cards aside, if someone were to ask you about playing the game or trying to figure out how to play it, and they wanted your opinion on on how to start or where to start, what would your advice be?
Don't buy starter decks. Don't buy structure decks. Don't buy those. They are grossly underpowered for what they should be. Like I just recently watched a YouTube video about him discussing this sort of thing, how starter decks and structure decks aren't even really a start into the game anymore because they keep reusing the same stupid flippin' old cards that literally have no relevance in the meta at all. Mm-hmm. What Konami needs to do is actually build decks that can possibly be used, like an old tier 1 deck from 3 or 4 formats ago. Make that into a structure deck, and then there you go. Now they can learn about how effects can kind of get linked together, how you can actually run through a good combo.
Yeah.
Current starter and structure decks don't do that at all. I would say to learn about the game, go onto YouTube.
Absolutely. Especially if you kind of watch, a lot of the times you don't even really need to start collecting cards. There's a lot of computer games like
I was going to suggest that there's
Dueling Network.
Yeah.
It is Dueling Network right now. Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
where you can explore. They have libraries of cards with all the effects on it, and you
It's
can
got got all the cards, even cards that haven't even technically come out yet. There's cards that have come out in the OCG, which is over in Japan and China, whereas over here it's called the TCG. Don't ask me the difference. I think it's retarded.
Yeah.
But that they have all of those cards. So every single card ever made for Yu-Gi-Oh! They have on the online.
Yeah, you can go on there and you can play against other people online. And you can kind of test things out
Without spending money.
Money. And also, there's a chat there too. So if you have questions, you can ask you can ask people questions too.
And that's
Don't try and use the chat on Dueling Network though, because there are a lot of trolls on that. Good lord,
I'm sure, and they'll probably say whatever they need to get you to lose. But
you know what you need to do? You need to
dump your entire deck into the graveyard.
click your deck. Click the white flag. Good.
Good win for me.
I kind of say the opposite though.
There are some really chill people though. Like if you make a deck and you type testing when you throw up your deck on like the dueling chat, like there's a page on Dueling.
You could even put like when you make a deck, just put like newbie on it as well, and they'll.
I would say not to do that.
Not to do that, no.
Not because on Dueling Network at least, there's a rank system already in place.
Yeah.
So if you're like my rank currently, I don't try and go into ranked anymore because it's just decks I don't want to screw around with.
Yeah.
Plus I run like a tier 7 deck anyway that I'm trying to figure out how to get it up there in tier. But yeah, there's a rank system, so when you're just starting out, you just got onto the page, you're 100/0.
Yeah.
That's like newbie. That's a newbie rank. To bring that up, you have to play in ranked. But it can also bring your rank down if you lose. So it's a double-edged sword kind of thing.
Well,
but like, yeah, if you want to duel and you're like a new guy and you just want to like, hey, I made this, I want to test it, I want to see how it performs. Yeah. You can throw it up on ranked. Say, just type in testing into the description box, and someone will play with you. They'll be relaxed about it. They won't like rush you because you're trying to figure out your deck.
Yeah, for sure. And, then if you have any questions about it, you can always email at us at nerdingout@gmail.com. We will love to have questions if you guys have questions. I say that and I'm plugging ourselves because we're wrapping us up here, but thank you so much, Nick, for coming on and talking about Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. I know that was a lot of leet speak, but
if there's any terms that you guys want to know about that we've spoken in here, look up. The best thing to do is just either shoot an email to us or just look it up.
To us. You're not part of this. You're just a guest here.
You know what? Wow. I can answer questions if I want to.
Wow.
I'll forward the email to you, and then you can answer them.
Got it.
But yeah, so follow us on Twitter at nerdingout. Also, we have our Facebook that is under the same name. Our email again is nerdingoutpodcast@gmail.com. Email us questions, tweet at us, all that stuff. So again, thank you so much, Nick, for coming on. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you for having me.
I am Evan, and that is David over there.
I have been David.
You have been David.
I will be David. Until he changed the format.
Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time. Bye. Cool. So, yeah.
Beautiful.
This is
no
not
biased at all.
This is not a political podcast at all.
So turn it to Alex Jones.
It turns the frogs gay.
I miss him. Why did they replace him with Joe Rogan, a guy who has the personality of cardboard? And every time he comes on, he talks about how I smoke pot. It's like, good for you. You have no ambition.
Wait. What show are you talking about?
Joe Rogan, the guy who used to do Fear Factor. Now
the guy who should have stayed at Fear Factor.
The guy who mostly commentates over UFC fights.
Oh, okay.
That guy, he has a podcast.
Yeah. Oh, so this is his podcast. Okay.
Yeah, they replaced Alex Jones' podcast with him.
Yeah.
With his.
That's like going from 100 miles per hour to 0.
Yeah.
Like hard.
Wow.
Yeah.
Windows up. Boxing. That's the style.
Yeah.
No, well, recently he got into this, because Elon Musk was on his podcast, and Elon Musk got high with him. And these remarks.
Oh,
that was
okay.
So that was that thing, yeah.
He is I miss Alex Jones. Because at least it's he's not being real. He's just filling his persona.